tackling something pretty big, diving into the results from Green Starox's album quest.
Oh, it's definitely, a musical gauntlet. I mean, think about it. Hundreds of albums, all different styles, different eras,
Okay.
all thrown into these random groups, 4 albums at a time.
And the rules sound pretty harsh.
Brutal, actually. You got to listen to all 4 back to back, then rank them, and, only the top 2 make it through. It's this huge, ruthless search for, the best album ever.
Right. And we're zooming in today, aren't we? On round 2, group 2. These 4 albums, they already made it through 1 round.
Exactly. So the competition's getting tougher. Our job, really, is to look at the source material, figure out how 2 of these, massive acts got knocked out.
Yeah.
While, maybe a less expected album snuck into that qualifying spot.
Okay, so who do we have in this group? It sounds like a real mix.
It is fascinating. We've got Pink's Try This. Then there's Soundgarden's Badmotorfinger, total grunge, metal classic. Oasis's Be Here. Now, the hype monster.
Oh, yeah.
And then, the big one, the Beatles compilation, 1962, 1966.
Wow. Okay, the headline here, Oasis are undone by their heroes while Pink causes trouble for Soundgarden.
That sounds juicy. But maybe first, how did they even get here? 3 of them didn't exactly breeze through round 1, did they?
No, that's really key to understanding this round. Only one album here truly dominated its first group. That was the Beatles. They just cakewalked it, apparently. Untouchable.
But the others sounded like they just scraped by.
Pretty much, yeah. Crept through is a good way to put it. They all came second. Pink's tried this. This, for example, it only got through by beating some really strong compilation albums. George Michael's 25, then Lizzie's Wild One.
That's tough competition right out of the gate.
Definitely. And Oasis with Be Here Sauce? Now, they only just edged out Peter Gabriel's Us.
That close. Wow. So maybe the critics were already sensing something wasn't quite right with that Oasis album, even back then. Seems like it. And Soundgarden, their first round was pretty wild, too. They beat the Bloodhound Gang's Dingleberry Haze and Rihanna's Girl Like Me.
Seriously, that just shows you how random this quest can be, throwing completely different things together. Okay, so they all arrived a bit bruised, maybe, except for the giant in the room.
Exactly. And we kind of have to talk about the Beatles first, don't we? Because the source material makes it crystal clear that 1962-1966 compilation just ran away with this group. No contest for the top spot.
It's easy to forget sometimes just how revolutionary those early years were, right? The reviewer basically said you could call it the Beatles invent modern music.
It's not far off. They went from, pretty straightforward pop songs to things with real emotional depth, complex arrangements in just 4 years.
Yeah, you look at the songs on there, you've got the early innocent stuff like Love Me Do, Please Please Me.
Right.
Then the energy of A Hard Day's Night, Ticket to Ride, and then suddenly, boom, Eleanor Rigby with the strings and everything.
That's it. That's the leap. They were just pushing music forward constantly, almost month by month, it felt like.
And the absolutely crazy thing is, this compilation, it stops before they even got to things like Stokey Pepper.
Exactly. No 60 Pepper, which basically invented progressive rock.
No Abbey Road with Come Together or Here Comes the Sun. This is just part 1.
It's astonishing. That early work alone is just a force of nature. It wipes out most challengers just through sheer quality and, importantly, efficiency. Pop perfection.
Pop perfection, okay. And that idea, that standard, that's kind of what brings down the next contender, isn't it? Oasis.
Yes. That standard tight songs, no wasted notes. It's kind of the perfect weapon against Oasis's Be Here Now.
Right. Let's talk about Be Here Now, because the hype. You really have to remember 1997, that summer. The anticipation was insane. They were the biggest band on the planet.
Oh, absolutely. And they knew it. Putting the release date right there on the album cover, August 17th, 1997, it felt less like an album release and more like a national event.
But the Quest format, listening back to back, it forces a different perspective, doesn't it? That original criticism, cluttered, messy, not as good as the first 2 albums, it just hits harder.
It really does. And the core issue, highlighted in the review, it just bloat length. And this is where the Quest format actively works against ego,
How so?
Well, you listen for 4 hours straight, then you have to rank them immediately. When a song like, goes on for 7.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And All Around the World is over 9 minutes.
Yeah.
Plus that pointless reprise. It just doesn't feel epic anymore. It feels
Tedious.
tedious, exactly.
Right.
Especially after hearing the Beatles' Economy.
That's a great point. The format itself punishes that kind of self-indulgence. Those huge walls of sound that were so impressive on their own suddenly become exhausting next to other albums demanding your attention.
Precisely. You know, if the Beatles taught us one thing, it's that editing matters. Discipline. Oasis just seemed to lack it on this record. But to be fair, there are good moments buried in there.
Okay, like what?
Well, don't go away and get specific praise. It's described as positively stripped down, like a breath of fresh air amongst all the noise. A proper ballad.
And you do still hear those big, catchy Oasis melodies sometimes, right? Like in Stand By Me, or maybe I Think I Know.
Yeah, those flashes are there, absolutely. But overall, the final verdict in the review is pretty harsh. After all that effort listening, the conclusion is it's just very plain indeed once you get past the initial hype. The substance just wasn't quite there to compete in this format.
Okay, so Oasis falters on Bloat, and that leaves the door open for Pink.
Exactly. Pink swoops in and takes that second spot right past Oasis, which is fascinating because this was actually her lowest selling album at the time.
Really? Lowest selling, but it still went platinum, top 10.
Yeah, globally it did well, but compared to her other massive hits, it underperformed commercially. Yet here, in the Quest, critically, it wins.
Okay, hold on. That feels backwards. Lowest seller, the reviewer apparently struggled with it at first. How does it beat Oasis? Doesn't this back-to-back listening favor immediate impact?
That's the really interesting question, isn't it? And it says something about the reviewer, Greenstarox. Because yes, it didn't grab them immediately, unlike maybe some other albums, but its strength emerged after they went back to it, after several listens.
So wait, does that mean they didn't just stick to the initial back-to-back reaction? Isn't that kind of bending the rules of the Quest?
Not necessarily bending the rules, but maybe showing the value of the Quest. It forced a deeper engagement. Unlike Oasis, which got more tiring with repeats, this started to reward that extra attention. Its layers, its diversity started to come through. It wasn't maybe instantly catchy, but it had staying power. It stuck.
I like that distinction. And there's a cool little story in the notes too, right? About Pink on Top of the Pops.
Yeah. The reviewer remembered seeing her do Just Like a Pill way back when. And she got the whole audience shouting, "Bitch!" because she couldn't actually sing it on TV before the watershed.
Huh. Classic Pink. That kind of edge, that refusal to compromise. It's baked into the album too.
It really is. And that diversity we mentioned, that's its secret weapon here.
Right.
It doesn't just stick to one sound, which keeps you hooked over, 14 tracks?
So what kind of styles are we talking?
Well, it kicks off with Trouble, which is just brilliant pop rock.
Yeah.
Then it shifts gears completely into R&B pop with Oh My God. Then you get almost schmaltzy balladry with Catch Me While I'm Sleeping, and later a full-on power rock ballad, Waiting for Love.
Okay, I see. That variety stops it getting boring. So while Oasis is kind of hitting you with the same massive sound for ages, Pink is giving you different textures, different moods, all high quality, though.
Exactly. High-quality variety. In a long listening session like this Quest demands, that variety becomes really valuable. It keeps you engaged.
Which brings us, finally, to Soundgarden. Badmotorfinger. Iconic album, 1991. But last place in this group.
Yeah, unfortunately. Finished fourth here.
That feels like a surprise. I mean, Soundgarden, Badmotorfinger, that's grunge royalty, isn't it? And same year as Nevermind in 10. How did it end up last?
Well, the review offers an interesting take. It's partly about genre, perhaps. While we lump it in with grunge historically, the reviewer listened and judged it more as good old-fashioned classic rock.
Okay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing here? They compare Chris Cornell to Robert Plant, right? That's high praise.
Oh, absolutely. High praise for the musicianship, the voice, the power. And the album definitely has strengths. It's described as solid metal, great chunky riffs. Jesus Christ Pose is singled out as the best track, a total rock powerhouse.
But. There's a but, isn't there?
There's a but. It seems Soundgarden, in this context, suffered from a similar problem to Oasis.
Yeah, right.
In a different way. The review points to a limited, tight melodic structure.
So not bloat like Oasis, but more like jamming too much? Is that it? An overtly jamming style?
That's the phrase used, yeah.
Yeah.
It's powerful on first listen, definitely. But when you hear it right after the perfect structure of the Beatles.
Right.
And right before the surprising twists and turns of Pink, the Soundgarden jams apparently started to feel a bit samey, a bit predictable.
Okay. So maybe relying more on intensity and impressive playing rather than those tight, memorable hooks and structures. Too much texture, not enough immediate melodic reward for this specific challenge.
That seems to be the assessment here.
Yeah.
It just became a bit tedious in the context of the Quest's demands.
Okay, so let's piece this together. We have the Beatles, just untouchable. Then a real fight for second place, where Pink's album, the one that rewarded repeat, listens with its variety and quality, managed to edge out Oasis, which was ultimately stumped by its own hype and bloat, and also Soundgarden, which, despite its power, maybe lacked the structural variety or tightness needed to win in this specific 4-album marathon.
That absolutely sums up the battle in round 2, group 2, which means we can officially reveal the final rankings from Green Strokes.
Okay, moment of truth. Who moves on to round 3 of the album quest?
All right. In first place, no surprise, absolutely dominating.
Yeah.
1962-1966 by the Beatles. They sail through.
Naturally. And second place?
Second place, winning that crucial spot, showing depth and rewarding that extra listen. Try This by Pink. Pink proceeds to round 3.
Wow. Which means the two giants of 90s rock are out. Oasis's Be Here Now finishes 3rd. Soundgarden's Badmotorfinger finishes 4th. Both eliminated. That's a statement.
It really is a humbling result for two massive, seminal albums. And I think the big takeaway for you, listening to how this quest unfolds, is about what constitutes lasting musical value, especially under this kind of intense scrutiny.
Go on.
Well, obviously, pure genius, influence, efficiency, that's the Beatles, that's the gold standard, untouchable. But right below that, it seems like subtle complexity, albums that reward you for digging deeper, that offer variety, like Pink's Try This. That's what wins out over, say, albums running on fumes of past glory and hype like Be Here Now, or albums that rely maybe too heavily on one admittedly powerful trick, like Badmotorfinger's jamming.
It's fascinating. The pressure cooker of the Quest format really strips everything away except the core musical substance, doesn't it? Makes you listen differently. Actively.
It really does. And, that brings up a final thought, maybe something for you to chew on next time you're doing your own deep listening.
Okay.
We saw Pink's Try. This needed those several listens, right? Yeah. It wasn't an immediate smash hit in the Quest's first pass for the reviewer. So does an album have to grab you instantly to be truly great? Or is greatness sometimes found in those albums that might initially underwhelm, but then reveal their depth and complexity only when you give them sustained critical attention over time? Does immediate impact matter more, or does that slow burn reward?